So, what does it really take for someone to make a profound change in their life? A real fundamental shift. Today, we're going to explore a pretty intense idea, the concept that sometimes you have to hit rock bottom before you can truly start over. And we're going to unpack this through the absolutely incredible story of one man's journey to the very bottom. So, the source material we're looking at today doesn't just start with a theory. Nope, it kicks things off with this one really powerful story. And it uses this story to make a much bigger point about human nature and, well, about change itself. And the man at the heart of this story, his name is Bill W. His journey, it's a roller coaster from success all the way down to total desperation. And it's his story that's used to really drive home the core idea we're digging into today. Okay, so to really get this idea of rock bottom, you have to see just how far this guy fell. Picture this. At age 22, Bill W. is a promising U.S. Army lieutenant. He's got a great career ahead of him. The world is his oyster, right? But then, by his early 30s, alcoholism had just completely derailed his career. And by 1934, it was all gone. He was unemployed, he'd been in and out of hospitals, and he was literally begging for cash on the street. What a fall. And this is the turning point in the story. But what's so fascinating is that the big change, the moment it all flips, wasn't about him fighting harder or mustering up more willpower. Actually, it was the exact opposite. It was about completely, totally giving up the fight. Right there, in 1934, at his absolute lowest, Bill just gave up. He finally admitted to himself, I can't do this. I cannot break the power of alcoholism in my life. He realized it was up to God, to some higher power to help him out. And that single act of surrender, that was the crucial first step. And what's so incredible is that this really personal, private admission of being powerless, well, that became the cornerstone of the entire movement he would go on to build. The very first steps of that program are pulled directly from his own experience. Step 1, admit you are powerless. Step 2, ask a higher power for help. It's all right there. And the ripple effect from that one moment of surrender, it's just immense. Bill W., of course, went on to co-found Alcoholics Anonymous. Today, that organization has over 2 million members. And it all started from that one guy hitting rock bottom and just letting go. But here is where the explainer pivots. See, it's not just telling us a historical story about one guy. It's using Bill's incredibly dramatic experience to ask a much bigger, more universal question. A question that really applies to all of us, whether we've ever faced something like that or not. And here it is, the central question that the whole thing is built around. Do we all need to hit rock bottom? Is some kind of massive crisis necessary for us to change? Do you have to have your whole world fall apart before you're willing to accept help? Well, the text's answer is pretty thought-provoking. It argues that for a lot of people, rock bottom isn't, being homeless or losing your job. It's much quieter. It's an internal thing. It's simply that moment of realization when you finally admit, I can't do this alone. Okay, so this is what brings us to the core theological concept that this whole story is really designed to explain. This is where that analogy of hitting rock bottom connects directly to a much bigger idea, the experience of salvation. So to really get what the source is saying, we have to understand the terms it's using. It actually poses the question directly. What does it really mean when people talk about accepting Jesus or giving your heart to God? What's that all about? According to the text, salvation isn't so much a one-time event as it is a state of knowing. It's that moment you recognize that you just can't live a perfect, holy, or even truly happy life all on your own steam. It's the admission, the very same one Bill W. had, that you need God to make you complete. And this whole idea is built on a few core beliefs that the text pulls from Scripture. First, the motivation behind it all is God's love for the world. Second is the idea that we've all sinned, that we all fall short on our own. Third, and this is key, salvation is a free gift. It's not something you can earn by being a good person. And finally, accepting that gift results in becoming a new creation, a total internal transformation. Okay, so right about here in the source text, there's a big shift in tone. It goes from just explaining a concept to framing it as a direct personal invitation. It becomes all about a choice for the reader. And it does this by completely reframing the dynamic. It kind of flips the script. The idea it puts forward is that maybe we shouldn't think of it as our search for God. Instead, we should see it as God searching for us. The initiative, the source claims, is actually coming from the other direction. To make this point, the source uses this really powerful imagery from the book of Revelation. It's the picture of Jesus standing at a door and knocking. He's right there, offering a connection, but he's not kicking the door down. He's not forcing his way in. He's just waiting. He's waiting for you to respond. Ultimately, the offer is on the table, but the choice to actually engage, to open that door, well, that's up to the individual. A response is needed. And that brings us to the final, really provocative thought that the source material leaves you with. It takes this whole explanation, hitting rock bottom, surrender, salvation, and boils it all down to one direct personal question for you, the reader. It basically turns to you and asks, if God is waiting for a response, what would you say?